Hey Movebubblers, it's Andrea at Movebubble here, and today we're talking about moving to London and finding that perfect home. Now, making the big move to the city is really exciting, but let's be honest, a tad bit confusing. Where do I live? What's the best place to live in London? How do I go about this? I don't know what to do. Don't worry, we got you covered. Here are our top 10 tips to finding a property in London. Right, before we get started, we will be posting weekly top tips on places to live in London and Manchester, renters guides, and lots of little useful bits that our Movebubblers have asked for. So make sure you press that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Tip number 1, know what you want. Now, writing a list of requirements is a really good way to find a property that really suits your needs. Don't know what area of London to look at? Well, this is the time to do your research. Look at areas, facilities, transport links, find out how far away the place is to, say, your place of work. Also, have a budget in mind, research the average cost of areas, and also a really important factor is your agency fees and costs. Make sure to include those in, as they can really make a difference into which property you're renting. Tip number 2, ask around. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So take advantage of your situation. Ask around, ask anyone, ask your friends, ask your family, ask your co-workers, ask a stranger on the street. Be safe though. Just ask people, and it may save you time and money, and you won't have to deal with the estate agents, which is also a plus. Also, there are other tips like joining communities on social media such as Facebook. There tends to always be a local area group where people talk about places to rent. So good luck. Tip number 3, share to save. Now, having housemates not only is a really good way of saving on rent, but if you're new to the city, you can also make some new friends. So a lot of students and young professionals like to choose this option. The general rule of thumb is the more rooms a property has, the less the rent. So if you're renting a place with 1 bedroom, it will cost the same as having an apartment with 4 bedrooms in the same area. Of course, always meet the housemates before you decide to move in with them. Always be safe. Now, this brings me to tip number 4. Stay safe. Always meet the landlord or the real estate agent who's in charge of the property before handing over any money. Really important, guys. Never ever pay in cash. Always do it electronically or by credit card. And make sure it's put in a tenancy protection scheme. You've got to also make sure that when you're looking at the property that you make an inventory. Make sure you count up all the bits that are in the apartment. Make sure everything is included, especially if there are any damages before you move in. Tip number 5, stay flexible. All of us are attracted to the wonderful bright lights of the London city centre, but let's be honest, it's really expensive. You've got to have an open mind to new places to live. There are some really great areas on the outskirts of London. Let's not be scared of the zones outside of 1 and 2, because we've got this amazing transport system. And if you look on Movebubble, we've got some pretty amazing properties which are right next to the tube station. So check it out. Tip number 6, be prepared. I'm not going to lie to you, it is a really competitive market, especially when you find the place you want. There will be other people who are looking at it as well. You've got to be prepared. Make sure that you're presentable and ready to make the best impression possible on your landlord or real estate agent in charge of the property. This is the same as a job interview, so you've got to make sure you scrub up well, that you can be trusted, that you've got them references ready. In fact, I would get references written up before you start looking so that you can go, boom, here, I've got it, I'm ready. I want to rent this place. Tip number 7, save for upfront costs. Now, this is the boring bit, but you need to make sure that you've got the money and that you're prepared for the extra costs that come with renting a property. That includes the deposit, which is usually a month and a half. All of this needs to be accounted for, otherwise you won't be able to rent that property. Tip number 8, be organised. This may seem like common sense, But you'd be surprised how many people aren't. Just make sure you're writing down every single viewing that you've got coming up, every single viewing that you've been to. Make a little list of the ones that worked, the ones that didn't work. It will really, really help you find the property that you want. I also like to write down questions that I like to ask at every single property, so you make sure you're asking the important things that matter for your home. Tip number 9, prepare your renter profile. Now, we mentioned earlier that it is a very competitive market and that references is a really good way to stand out from the crowd. But it's really important to have these prepared along with a personal statement. Anything you can do to show the landlord that you are the best candidate for the property. So make sure you spend some time getting some awesome references, writing a statement as to why you're the best tenant, and you're all set. Tip number 10, and quite possibly my favorite tip of them all, use Movebubble. Honestly guys, this will save you so much time, and just in a few taps you can find the property that you love. You can make an appointment just like that, speak to anyone from the Movebubble team, and one of my favorite aspects are the walkthroughs where you get to see people like myself and the community walk you through the different homes that we have on the app. So this will save you loads of time because you get to see whether a place is for you and also book the appointments for the ones that you actually want to see. It's awesome guys, download it now. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.